Before we continue with Julian, Nick Robertson, one other thing for you. Do you consider this good journalism, or do you consider it, as the National Security Advisor said, irresponsible?
I think this is a new avenue in journalism. It's putting it in a public forum. It's putting a vast wealth of information that Mr. Assange says has been scrutinized by his team to make sure nobody is put in danger. He said that nobody has died from some of their earlier reports over the last 4 years, that it's changed policy, that it's even, their reports have even changed governments. Good journalism is all about presenting the facts, not putting people in harm's way, but presenting the facts so that the citizens of different countries can make up their minds about their own government, about the actions of their government, about the actions of other governments. And then when there comes to elections or moments of putting political pressure on those governments, they're free to do that. And this appears to provide information at face value, as far as we know now, in that context. If you don't mind, Larry, I'd like to ask Mr. Assange a question here, if I may. What I find interesting is journalists often turning Mr. Assange to the internet, to social networking sites, to get answers to their questions about current issues. But here, you're almost turning to the professionals, the journalists, to pick their brains, to pass them the documents and say, OK, over to you. Is this some radical change? Is this something that you see as new?
Promise our sources that we will try and get maximum possible impact for the risks that they have undertaken in getting us material. And this material, we saw how could we best sort of have it fleshed out. There's 91,000 reports. Some of them are quite technical. It really does need a good team to go through it. So our organisation's a small organisation. We're very successful, but we just needed more people to bring their expertise, people who had been stationed in Afghanistan, people who'd been stationed in Karachi. So we put together this coalition between the New York Times, Der Spiegel and The Guardian, the three sort of top respected print publications in the West. And spent a month going through it. That is something that we have done before on an individual basis with individual journals or with an individual newspaper in the past to try and get sort of through the difficult parts of our material. But without a doubt, this has been the single biggest coalition of journalistic talent we've assembled together. Quite a difficult task to sort of keep these three very independent organisations all in the same room, working together happily.
Nick, thanks as always for your contributions. Julian, you said that these leaked documents contain evidence of war crimes by United States forces. What kind of evidence? Yeah, so when I say we see evidence of war crimes, we see events that are very suspicious. I mean, in the end, it will take a court to really look at the full range of evidence to decide if a crime has occurred. But when we see events like a Polish My Lai that has actually started to be considered by the Polish courts and by the Polish military, where an IED explodes in a town and the next day the Poles come and shell the town in a revenge attack. We see an incident in August 2006 where US forces in one report kill 181 what they say are insurgents. There is 1 wounded and 0 captured. And those sort of reports that have this sort of flavour of a lot of people killed, but no people taken prisoner and no people left wounded, gives some sort of deeply suspicious feeling about what happened in these events. And we can look at, say, the secretive Task Force 373, which I discovered, which is a special forces assassination squad that involved in kill or capture missions, working down through a list of people to be usually killed, sometimes captured. In one event we see they lob a sort of secretive missile system at a house that has a suspected Taliban Al-Qaeda commander in it, and the result is that 7 children are killed. And the report for that says at the top explicitly to keep this information from US allies, to keep it from the British, to keep it from Australian forces. So those sort of events do look quite suspicious.
Julian remains. We'll be joined by Daniel Ellsberg in a moment. Mr. Ellsberg ignited that firestorm in the early 70s, leaking a top-secret story about the course of the war in Vietnam, leaking top-secret documents. Daniel Ellsberg joins us after this.